Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that affects almost every family on the planet, cancer. Now, I know that's a heavy topic to start with, but here's the thing. What if I told you that about 1 in 4 cancer cases could actually be prevented just by changing what's on your plate? That's not me making wild claims, that's coming from Harvard School of Public Health. And we're going to dive deep into the science today. Look, I'm not here to sell you some magical superfood powder or make unrealistic promises. What I want to share with you are 4 everyday foods, backed by actual medical research and clinical trials that have shown real, measurable effects on cancer prevention. We're talking about studies with thousands of participants published in peer-reviewed journals, the real deal. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk about how something as simple as your grocery shopping list could genuinely make a difference in your long-term health. All right, first up, we've got cruciferous vegetables. Now, I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another broccoli lecture. But hear me out, because the science behind these vegetables is actually fascinating. We're talking about broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, and cabbage. What makes these vegetables special is a compound called glucosinolates. When you chew these vegetables, glucosinolates break down into active compounds called isothiocyanates and indoles. These are the real cancer-fighting champions. Here's where it gets interesting. Research has consistently shown that these compounds influence cancer development during both the initiation and promotion phases. What does that mean in plain English? It means these compounds work at multiple stages to stop cancer before it even gets started. They help your body detoxify carcinogens, they reduce inflammation, and they can even trigger damaged cells to self-destruct before they become cancerous. Let's look at some real numbers. A comprehensive systematic review of 226 case control and cohort studies found that intake of cruciferous vegetables can prevent various cancers, with an odds ratio of 0.77, meaning about 23% risk reduction. That's a significant number. When you're talking about something as serious as cancer, studies specifically on lung cancer showed that women who ate more than 5 servings of cruciferous vegetables per week had notably lower risk. Now here's a practical tip that a lot of people don't know. When you're preparing these vegetables, don't overcook them. High heat for extended periods can destroy those beneficial compounds. Steaming for 3 to 5 minutes is ideal. Or here's something cool. If you chop your broccoli or cauliflower and let it sit for about 10 minutes before cooking, it actually increases the availability of those cancer-fighting compounds. It's like meal prep that works for your health on a molecular level. Moving on to food number 2, and this one's going to be more popular. Berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, you name it. These little fruits are absolutely loaded with compounds called anthocyanins, which give them their vibrant colors. But they do way more than just look pretty. Berries contain many known chemopreventive agents, such as anthocyanins and ellagitannins, which are particularly concentrated in forms like freeze-dried berry powders. The term chemopreventive literally means they help prevent cancer. At a chemical level in your body, let me break down how this actually works. During cancer initiation, anthocyanins can prevent malignant transformation by targeting specific cellular pathways and inhibiting abnormal cell growth signals. They're basically intercepting the signals that could lead to cancer development before those signals can do any damage. What's really exciting is the clinical research on this. Black raspberries, in particular, have shown the ability to inhibit a broad range of cancers in preclinical models, including oral esophageal, colon, breast, and skin cancer. These weren't just test tube experiments either. These were actual in vivo studies, meaning tested in living organisms, which gives us much more relevant data for human application. Here's what I love about berries as a cancer prevention food. They're incredibly easy to incorporate into your life. Throw them in your morning smoothie, add them to your yogurt, snack on them in the afternoon, or freeze them for a healthy dessert. Unlike some health foods that require elaborate preparation, berries are grab and go. And here's a bonus tip, frozen berries are just as nutritious as fresh ones, sometimes even more so because they're frozen at peak ripeness. So if fresh berries are expensive or out of season where you live, don't worry about it. A bag of frozen mixed berries from your local supermarket works perfectly and usually costs a fraction of the price. Number 3 is tomatoes, and specifically, we're talking about a compound in tomatoes called lycopene. This one is particularly important for the men watching this video, but everyone can benefit from it. Lycopene is what gives tomatoes and other red fruits their color. It's a powerful antioxidant, but its real claim to fame is its association with reduced prostate cancer risk. The research on this has been extensive. A number of epidemiological studies have suggested that individuals with relatively high intake of lycopene, particularly from tomato products, have a lower risk of prostate cancer. Let's get specific with some data. Subjects consuming more than 2 servings per week of tomato products, compared to less than 1 serving per month, exhibited a 66% decreased risk of metastatic prostate cancer. That's not just cancer in general. That's metastatic cancer, which is when cancer spreads to other parts of the body, the most dangerous form. Now, before you run out and buy a truckload of fresh tomatoes, let me share something that surprised me when I first learned about it. Cooked tomato products are actually better for lycopene absorption than raw tomatoes. When tomatoes are cooked, especially with a little bit of oil, the lycopene becomes much more bioavailable, meaning your body can actually absorb and use it more effectively. So tomato sauce, tomato paste, even ketchup in moderation. These processed forms actually give you more cancer-fighting benefits than a fresh tomato in a salad. That's pretty counterintuitive when we're constantly told that raw vegetables are always better, right? Here's how you can work this into your life. Make pasta with marinara sauce once or twice a week. Use tomato paste as a base for stews and soups. Even having pizza with tomato sauce counts. Though obviously, watch the cheese and processed meats. The point is, you don't need to do anything extreme. Just be intentional about including tomato-based foods in your regular meal rotation. The fourth and final food is garlic, along with its relatives, onions, leeks, and shallots. These are called allium vegetables, and they've been used medicinally for thousands of years. But now we have modern science to explain why they work. When you crush, chop, or chew garlic, you activate an enzyme that produces a compound called allicin. This is what gives garlic its distinctive smell, but it's also a powerful anti-cancer compound. Allicin and other sulfur compounds in garlic have been shown to slow or stop the growth of tumors in studies on cancer cells. The mechanism is multifaceted. These compounds help your body detoxify carcinogens more effectively. They can reduce inflammation throughout your body. They interfere with the formation of new blood vessels that tumors need to grow, a process called angiogenesis. And they can even trigger apoptosis, which is programmed cell death in abnormal cells that might otherwise become cancerous. Population studies have shown some really interesting patterns. Regions where people consume high amounts of garlic and onions tend to have lower rates of certain cancers, particularly stomach and colorectal cancers. These are observational studies, so we can't say definitively that garlic is the sole cause. But when you combine population data with laboratory research showing the mechanisms, the evidence becomes pretty compelling. Now, here's the thing about garlic that most people don't know. To maximize that allicin production, you should crush or chop your garlic and let it sit for about 10 minutes before you cook it. This gives the enzyme time to do its work. If you add whole garlic cloves straight into a hot pan, you miss out on a lot of those beneficial compounds. I get it, not everyone wants to eat raw garlic every day. Your coworkers probably wouldn't appreciate that. But you can cook with it regularly. A few cloves minced into your stir-fry, sautéed with vegetables, mixed into salad dressings, or roasted whole in the oven. The key is consistency. Having garlic several times a week is going to serve you much better than having a huge amount once in a while. Let me leave you with this thought. Cancer can feel like this overwhelming, uncontrollable threat. And yes, there are genetic factors and environmental exposures we can't always control. But the foods you choose to put on your plate 3 times a day, that's something you absolutely can control. And the research shows that these choices genuinely matter. The 4 foods we talked about today, cruciferous vegetables, berries, tomatoes, and garlic, are backed by decades of research and thousands of studies. They're not exotic. They're not expensive. They're sitting in your grocery store right now, waiting for you to add them to your cart. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, make those food choices count and take care of yourselves.